Hello, hello everybody. Just hello everyone. Just getting settled. If you're joining us, pop a comment. Pop in and say hi in the comments. See, I can't talk and do two things at once. Just going to double check I'm live, and I just have to share the video somewhere, so bear with me. It sounds like it's working. Bear with me. I've just got to share it to a Facebook group. I'll work out how to do that. Can't talk and text at the same time. So who have we got joining us today? Hi Jacqueline, how are you going? So we've got a few popping in. Just bear with me. I'm just sharing this to a Hillbilly Shenanigans group, and then I will be, I think that is how I do it. I'm not real good on Facebook. Looks like it's in there. Okay, looks like we're going. Sounds good. And then I want to bring this up because... Wrong one. I've got to bring this up. Who else have we got? Hello, Erin. We've got joining us. So I'm just setting up comments and setting up my phone so I can stay in frame. Takes me a minute. I don't do lives very often. I should do them a bit more frequently, and Facebook always changes things on me, which is frustrating because then I can't find things. I want to turn that around. It's not going to big screen. Why not? Because my phone hates me. That's why. I can't even go back and do it. Some days, technology and I are not friends. So we'll get started in just a minute. I've just got to bring this up on my phone, so I make sure I stay in frame. Where is it? There it is. And I think I've got to move my phone, then press sideways. I was having my teenager tell me how to do it. Aha, I got it. Got it. I can do things. Yay! So I've got myself on my phone now so I can see what I'm doing. Hi Tanya, how you going? Are you still in sunny somewhere, Tanya? You were travelling last time I saw her, or are you back? Or are you watching from overseas? I can't remember where you were going, but I think I've got the right Tanya. Maybe I haven't. Maybe I just made a fool of myself, but that's okay. Cool, we might get started. So welcome to today's class. So this is called Things in Jars class, and we started with this off as one class, and it sort of morphed into 3 different versions. We've got class kits on the website available for each of the styles. So we've got a class kit made up for the jars. We've sold a few previous to the class, so hopefully some people are playing along with us. Actually, I should have that one down in the comments. That's better. So you can purchase a card class. So the card class has in it cardstock, it has a stamp, and it has the corresponding, the little bucket beside me. They're not the ones I want. Of course, I can never find anything when I go delving in my bucket. It's got the corresponding size stencils. So it's got 3 stencils in it. It's got the jar, the dome, which is this one here, and it's also got a snow globe. So all of the kits have the same type of stencil. They're just larger. So we've got small ones for the card making, we've got larger ones for the art journal page, and the same size for the scrapbook page. So you can take this concept and do just about anything. Or what you can do is you can just buy bits of the stencils on our website, and we also get the black and white cutouts in the art journal on the scrapbook page. So you can buy bits and pieces, or you can buy the whole kit and caboodle. It's up to you. The only thing we don't sell separately is the stamps and the little cutouts. They're only in the card making kit. So these are the sort of types of cards you can make. You have enough in the kit, you can make some daylight cards, or you can make some nighttime cards. So you have enough supplies to make 4 cards in the kit with some left over as well. So then in the art journal kit, you get enough to make the double art journal page. So again, it's sort of the daylight version and a darker version. So this is the one I'm going to be working on today, but it's the same concept whether you're working on cards, whether you're working on the scrapbook page, or whether you're working on the art journal page. About 80% of it's the same. So this is the, I'm going to take these out of the plastic because they are shiny. So this is the scrapbook version. So we've got a single page with basically exactly the same as we've done in the art journal page. It's just bigger. And it's obviously got room for a photo. And then we've got the daylight version, which is exactly the same. Well, I used a different stencil. Story behind that. We're using this stencil today. It's exactly the same. Again, just room for a photo. You could even have room for, I thought it'd be good to have a little box with all my goodies beside me. I don't know how well that's working. Could even have room for a second photo. I couldn't decide how to put a second photo on. You could put a second photo down here. So I only stuck one on. A few more coming in. We've got Kim. How you going, Kim? So you have quite a few options of how you want to use this technique. About 75% of the technique's the same. So I'm actually going to work on the art journal page, but if you're working on scrapbook pages, one thing with the scrapbook page, I ideally had the idea, but I didn't realise I did it. I would probably have this girl facing the photo, so I'd swap these two positionings around. So I'd put the girl over here and my photo over there, because then she's looking at the photo. But I sort of got 3/4 of the way through the page and didn't realise I'd done that. Again, you could do that with the fairy as well. You could do the jar over this side and have the fairy looking at the photo. I sort of already made these scrapbook pages twice, so I wasn't going to do a third one. So if you're working on cards or scrapbook pages, in your kits, if you purchase a kit from me, you'll get BRT Mixed Media cardstock. The white is the Mixed Media cardstock, about 350 GSM, and the black is about 225 GSM. So you want to work on a really nice solid cardstock, not like a flimsy cardstock, if that makes sense. So that cardstock is both in the scrapbook and the card making, same cardstock in the kits. Clear as mud? Right. Yep, clear as mud. I can hear my daughter raiding my fridge before she goes out. Don't you love teenagers? So ideally, what we need to start with is I'm going to work in my art journal. Yes, it is dry. It is a hand test over the page. So I painted one side white. So this is a Delusion style journal, but it's not. It's a cheaper version I found. It's not very good. But it will work for today. So I painted one side with white gesso. There's no reason why I couldn't work on the cream. And I painted one side with black gesso. Or you could do your art journal page on paper as well. You're raiding my fridge, my love. Okay. Have fun, Alexis. I'll see you later. Just position this around. I can get the door, 1 second. Okay. Have fun. Sorry about that. Teenager now out of the house. She tends to slam the door very, very loudly and didn't want to do it while I was live. Hey, we've got Rosalind joining us as well. So we're going to start on this side page today, well now, and then we're going to do the black one. Very similar technique. We're just finishing it off with different embellishments. So whether you're doing any of the projects, you can follow along. Now, I need to find my dome stencil, which is this one. So if you've got the kit, we did sell some kits previous, so some people have received kits in the mail. Hopefully you're following along. This will become a video after the live, so you can always catch up. Why can't I find my domed, oh there it is. Can't find the piece I want. So this live will turn into a filmed video, like a video after the live, and be uploaded to YouTube, so it's always available. Okay, now what the actual material we're using, or the colours we're using, are Distress Oxide ink pads. So I have put some colours. I think these are the colours I'm using. Maybe. I think that's, oh maybe we'll put this one in. So there's no reason why you can't follow this same technique and use paints. I just use Distress Oxides because mine are a little neglected and I decided to get them out and use them. And they're nice with blending as well. I was going to have an example to show you with paint, but that thing called time got away from me. So we're going to work on this side first. So we're going to need a blue for the sky. So I've got faded jeans. We're going to need some grass, some twisted citron for the grass. And inside the little domey thing, I've used fossilized amber. That's for the other one. That's for the other one. And I think I've used a bit of squeezed lemonade as well. So similar colours. You could use other ink pads. It's just Distress Oxides work well on black. Other inks may not show up, but on the white you could use the normal Distress inks if you wanted to, if you only had those. Or you could have a go with paint. So in your kits or on the website you can purchase a stencil and mask set. So some people get confused what's a stencil and what's a mask. So basically when they come in a set, and you'll get one that's not lopsided, because I get all the goofy ones that come out of the machine. So basically this is called a mask. So the mask is actually put down. It covers up the originalness on your page, original picture, pattern, whatever, and you're putting paint or ink around it. So you're masking off an area or covering up an area and putting ink around it. A stencil you're putting on your page, and you're putting stuff through the stencil. So we're going to use a combination of both to get this technique here today, which is really cool. So we need our mask first, which is you could use the dome, you could use the snow globe, or you could use your jar. Oh, I do have the small jar. So these ones are all sized for the scrapbook pages and the art journals. So you get all three in your kit. So I haven't played with this snow globe yet. I wanted to, but yeah, well, time is not my friend lately. So what we want to do is, if I bring our completed example back in, is we want to mask off this area so we don't get blue or green inside our little window. So I've sort of positioned it sort of to the bottom, not directly in the middle, sort of more to the bottom and a bit to one side. But feel free to pop it anywhere you like. I've done that on the cards as well. I've sort of, don't stick it straight bang in the middle, it looks funny. Offset it to one side, offset it to the bottom or to the top, usually the bottom because we've got this sitting sort of in the reeds or in the vines. So what I want to do is grab some masking tape to hold it down, or washi tape. I've just got masking tape on my table. I'm going to find the darn end. Come on. I was using you before. You can't be that difficult to find. Oh, there we go. So I just want a tiny little bit, because we don't need much to hold down. So I'm going to do a tiny little bit, and I'm going to roll it back on itself so it's like a circle of stickiness on the outside. And I'm just going to put that in the middle of my shape and tack it down. Basically, I want to hold it down, but I don't really need to stick it with a lot of adhesive. So we're just going to stick that down. What I'm also building up is a stick for each sort of colour family. So I want my green one. I want that one. I think that one goes with that one, although that's a bit dirty. I think that's my blue one. I think that's my metallic one. I've got to label my sticks, so my blending tools. So I want sort of one with each colour family. You could use the Tim Holtz wooden sticks and the foam things. You could use that. I just prefer these. So we've got our inks ready. The only other thing we need to do is find a scrap of paper. Photocopy paper works. And what we want to do is, not that one, we'll use this one, is we sort of want to tear a mountain, because I don't want my sky and my grass to be a solid line across the page. I want it sort of to be like a mountain, similar to this. So basically just going to tear a bit of photocopy paper to be a mountain, so our blue and our green don't have a straight line across them. You can see I've used this one. Okay, so it doesn't matter which colour we start with. Let's start with blue. So we've got our donut mask sitting down. Might be a bit hard to see, white on white. So if you haven't used Distress Oxides before, they are a combination of two inks by Tim Holtz, and I'll have to look on the back because I always forget which two they are. Dye and pigment ink. So they are water reactive. We're going to play with the water reactiveness in a minute. They go over black really well. We'll see that in a minute later on. And they blend really nicely too. So other ink pads could work. And The Distress Oxides have a bit of a white opacity to them, so a white base to the ink, so they layer really nicely on top of each other, which we'll see when we get to the second stage. So all I'm doing is grabbing a blending tool, so this is like a makeup brush with all the little fine hairs in it. Again, you could use whatever you use for blending inks. I just find this one really well, so I'm just scrubbing it on top of the ink pad. And all I'm going to do, let me get that cord out anyway, is round and round in circles, and I'm going to start building up colour on my page. Oops. I must admit I'm not the best at blending and getting smooth colours, but I don't want smooth colours. I don't mind if there's a bit of blobbiness in a bit more colour and a bit of white. Looks like clouds then. And I do have a line here. I had to put some masking tape down the middle of my book. So coming down to the edge of the bit of paper that we've ripped, so holding it with our fingers, and we're coming up to the edge of our dome stencil, so we're going to make sure that isn't moving. And I'm hoping the camera isn't moving because I've got the weirdest setup with my camera at the moment, because when I move my desk, my camera wiggles, which is not fun. So I got out the duct tape and precariously put my camera onto my light, and hopefully it'll stay up there and not fall down. So I'm just moving my fingers quite close to the dome and the paper, holding it down where I'm inking. I prefer to grab the head of the, actually I'm tempted to cut the handles off because I really don't use them because I find them really awkward. So I tend to grab the head of the blending brush, then I get a bit more control over what I'm doing. Now we are going to do a water technique up the top here, so the darker or the more intense colour you get, the better. The water technique will show up. If you haven't played with these inks with water, they are really cool. So you're basically playing until you're happy with the amount of colour that you've got on your page. Now, because I've pre-gessoed this page, I've put, if you've not heard of gesso before, gesso is like an undercoat, like a paint. If you're going to paint a house, you do like an undercoat on the house, and then you do like your pretty colour on top. So gesso puts a barrier on the paper. It means that my ink is sort of sitting on top and staying wet for a bit longer. It's not sucking into the paper. So we can blend it easily. Words. Seriously today, Melinda, words would be good. So the inks will glide a bit more on the gesso paper than they will on just normal cardstock. That's what I found anyway. But they do work on normal cardstock. They'll work on, probably don't use textured cardstock. You want a nice, smooth, flat one. You can use watercolour paper, but use what we call a hot press. So a smooth watercolour paper. Otherwise you'll get more texture in your background. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that colour. So now I can peel my just piece of photocopy paper off that we're using like as a mountain mask, and then if I just pick up my dome, see how we've got nice white under our dome, so it hasn't moved. Now we want to do our green. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the green. I'm actually going to use this because I want to give a bit of interest. I don't know whether you're going to see it in my art journal page. Let me see if I can see it. Not really. Okay. I'm going to sort of try to put some mountains or some different shades of colour in the bottom here. So we're going to use our other piece we tore off, and when we do our green in exactly the same way. So this one is Twisted Citron. Just want a nice bright green. So holding my mask, coming right up to the blue and overlapping. So into the blue, so we don't really want to see a line of difference of where it is. We're going to come back with the blue stick now, and we can sort of blend back. So you're wanting to get sort of a seamless flow from your colours. You'll probably get a more seamless flow than me because yeah. Blending is not my forte, but it's alright. I don't mind blobby bits here and there. So by using a bit of paper, we're actually getting a bit of a darker line happening. So it will give the hint of a bit of a mountain range. So it's amazing how much ink actually is held in these little bristly brushes. You can get them from all sorts of places. I think we stole them from the makeup industry, technically. So coming up and over the blue, and then grabbing the blue stick. Actually, I need some more blue. And just blending that out. So if you look out to the horizon, the blue and the green is sort of blended together. You don't really see like a harsh line. That's the non-colour top. So that's the sort of effect they're giving. So we're going to, and we sort of have got a middle tone colour in there, which is really cool too. So we're going to continue down and cover the entire bottom with the bottom of our page with the green. Oops. My photocopy bit of paper has been used a few times, so it's getting a bit beat up, but it'll still work. It'll still work. So who's playing along? Who bought a kit and's playing along, or who's just hanging out and watching me? Oh, Leslie can barely hear me. Oh, okay, hang on. Is that any better? I've just moved my microphone closer to my mouth. Might have to turn your volume up a bit. For some reason my microphone is playing up a bit. Technology and I are not friends. My lovely teenager just left the house, so I can't ask her. Usually any technical questions I ask her. Let me know if the... Oh, I've just had a thought. That's probably why I'm not loud enough. Oh, some days. Give me 1 second. I don't know if I can change it. Is that any better? I've just actually plugged my microphone in. It wasn't plugged in. And it was just using the laptop microphone. Let me know if that sound is any better, or am I too loud now? I was playing around with my microphone before and I didn't realise it was not plugged in to the computer. It might take a minute to change. There we go. It should have kicked in now, hopefully. If someone can let me know if the volume is okay. I did test it on my phone before. Where's my phone? I've thrown it over here. Let me just turn up the volume of my phone. Sounds like it's working on my phone. You might just have to turn your volumes up a bit if I sound a bit quiet. And hopefully the actual microphone is kicked in now, not just the laptop. Oops. I don't know. Some days I shouldn't deal with technology. I'm not going to use that anymore. I'm just going to put yellow. Just going to put the yellowy colour down here. All good, Rosalind? Awesome. And it doesn't help that every time I come to do a live, Facebook has changed something or other and moved it to a bit different position or changed it around. It's like learning a whole new language. So I want to make sure I'm holding that mask down when I am near it so I don't move it. Okay, so when you're happy with your colour, what have I got? I've got a bit of grub on there, which doesn't surprise me. When you're happy with your colour, stop. What we're going to do is some water drops, fun water drops to start with. So I just want to put my lids on my inks because I don't want water to get in my ink pads. So I want some watery drops up the top, which look like these sort of white speckles here. So this is a water reactive ink, so you can do some really cool watery techniques. I'm going to take my spray bottle, and I need to grab some paper towel and have it ready. Hi Angela. That's right, late to the party. I was nearly late too. I was trying to get the teenager in a shower. Do you know how hard it is to wrangle a teenager to get in the shower nowadays? Oh, that's right. All we've done is some inking, and we've masked off our piece that we didn't want to get colour on. So now we're going to do the fun water technique. Now if I take a spray bottle like this, aim it on my page and spray it straight from the spray bottle, I'm going to get a fine mist. Oh, come on cord, stop being annoying. This cord is annoying me. I'm going to get a fine mist of spray, and it's going to basically wash out everything. So what you want to do is you want to squirt it into your hand, and then you want to throw drops on the page. This will get your bigger blobs, and have fun throwing them. They're like splattering. They don't go where you're told, but you want to leave it about 5 or 10 seconds. So the water is going to bleach the ink. I've got it on my gesso page, which I don't want. So leave it 5 or 10 seconds. You can sort of see it starting to react. And then we want to gently roll with a paper towel. Magic. Now we've got white spots. I don't like this big one, but I'm going to fix that in a minute. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a dry. So it's up to you if you want to do the white spot. Some people like the look of it, some people don't. Oh, Leslie put the earphones on, it must be. Oh, okay. So I sometimes watch YouTube. Well, okay, sometimes. I watch a lot of YouTube. And some videos are quieter than others, and some I have to turn the volume up. I was watching a live this morning, and I had to turn the volume right up. But then an ad come on, and it almost blasted my ears. It was interesting. Glad it's working for you, Leslie. So once this is dry, if you have a particular spot like this big one I'm not liking, make sure it's dry. You can easily bring the ink back in and push it back into the background. So you can play with your layers as much as you want, and just put another bit, a few more darker bits around. Did I pick up the right stick? Yeah, I did. Okay. I must have a bit of green in my stick. It's going a bit darker. So where you layer over the top, the ink is like a second layer, so it's going to go a bit darker. So I'm just adding a few little dark spots, so I don't have just one dark spot, if that makes sense. Just got to make sure the water's dry, so I can knock any of those water spots back that I don't like, but you'll still get the effect of them. And stop when you're happy. It's all about stopping when you're happy with what you've got. We're going to layer some more stuff over the top. We'll do that while we've got our blue. So if you've purchased a kit, or you can purchase it from the website, or you may have one at home in your stash, you want something that looks like a leafy stem. So this one is actually the one that comes in the kit. That's the one I've used on the Scrapbook page. So this one again is a stencil and a mask kit. I don't know whether I have the bit that comes out in the middle of it. We don't need it today. Do I? I do. So again, this is and we have quite a few of these. Yeah, earbuds seem to work better with volume. I've actually got some earbuds, but I haven't connected them yet. I've had them for a few months. I had to go buy the ones that just stick in your ear because my new phone didn't have a cord. I'm old-fashioned. I like things with cords. So I've got a bunch of these, and this is one of our new releases. And these domes and jar stencils are our new release too that went up live today. And if you're quick, you can get the new stuff at the discount that doesn't run out till Monday night. So there's a 20% discount on everything on the website until Monday night, the end of the year financial sale. And I snuck the new stuff up. So if you're quick, you can get the new stuff at 20% off as well. Automatic discount, don't need a code. It just comes off your shopping cart. So this is one of the new ones. So we're going to use the stencil. So we're going to do some foliage along the top. So I'm going to turn this, I'm going to use this stencil in a couple of ways. I'm going to use it upright for down here, but I'm going to turn it upside down for the top part of it. I'm going to move my book a little towards me. So we're going to use the same colour, and this is why oxide inks are great, because they have the white opacity to the inks. They layer really nicely. So when we stencil with the same colour through our stencil, the leaves are going to be a darker blue than the original blue we put down there. Clear as mud, right? So I'm just going to lay our stencil here, and we want to do them at different lengths. We don't want to have them a straight line all across. Something like these finer stencils, you just want to have your fingers quite close to where you're going round and round, so that you're sort of not pulling the bits of the stencil up. Some of the stencils are quite fine. And if I have my hand, for example, down here and I'm working up here, the stencil's going to move. So you'll notice that my fingers of my left hand are quite close to where my right hand is stenciling. So there we've got one leaf. You can always, this one's not, oh, it does reflect a bit. I was going to say, you can always turn your stencil around and have your leaves going the other way. This one's sort of a little symmetrical. So we can have some leaves coming in on the angle. We'll do this one on the angle. So you can go as dark as you want. If I go over again, I can get my leaves quite dark. So it depends on if you want them to be, see how they're different colours. If you want them to be looking like a jungle that has leaves in the front, then leaves behind and behind again. Oh, just lost any comments. I moved my mouse. Hopefully with the YouTube replay, the sound should fix itself. I don't know, for some reason, sometimes the sound in lives are interesting. So I'm going to put, what are we going to do? I'm doing another one over here. Oops. Oh, you don't want to do that. Yes, I could put it down with some tape, but I never do. If I'm leaving it like this one for a long time, I'll put it down with tape, but I just wing it. If it moves a little, well, that doesn't really bother me. Don't look for perfection in my work. So I'm deliberately sort of angling the stencil a different way and doing it at different heights. Sorry, finding it hard to actually talk and do today. I can't believe it's nearly July already. It's like, where did the first half of the year go? It's gone. It's just been a very busy year. But I've got a free class planned, let's say planned, for the end of, what's the next month? July, the end of August, and the end of September. And hopefully every month going forward we'll see. I made a commitment to do quite a few while Jen from Hillbilly Shenanigans Hillbilly Scrapbooking is flying all over the world. No, where's she doing? She's cruising all over the world. And hopefully, if I get organised enough, that's if I get organised enough, I can do them every month. It would be nice. It just means being organised, which is not a good word in my house. This is not a good word in my vocabulary. I'm the most unorganised, fly by the seat of the pants, do it at the last hour person. When you are happy, stop. I might just do, and knowing when to stop is hard, because I go just a little bit more, and I should have stopped like 5 minutes ago. This is a fun technique because you learn the basics of the technique, what we're doing today, and then you can put anything you like in your dome. You can put anything you like in your jars. The snow globe I can't wait to play with. I reckon that'll be really cool. So when you're happy with how your leaves are looking, stop, and we'll do some green leaves on the bottom. I just want to wipe my stencil so I don't put blue ink on top of my green. Which way do I have it? I have it this way. Usually, oh, excuse me. Usually I'm not a person that cleans my stencils. I'm just going to dry it on my pants, which is really naughty. That will dry off too. But I just didn't want the blue ink to interfere with the green down the bottom. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the green. I'm going to do some reeds down the bottom. Now we're going to leave our dome there, because what we want the reeds to do is we want the dome to be sort of in the front, like in the foreground, and then the leaves sort of in the background. There's no reason why you can't bring the leaves up and over the dome if you want the dome to be sort of pushed back into the background. Hi Helen, how you going? So we've got quite a few people joining us today. That's exciting. So we're going to leave our dome there. Again, you can see it is protecting our underneath from getting stuff all over it. That's why masks are really cool. So we're going to take our twisted citron again. We're going to find the corresponding stick. Eventually I'll have all these named. Haha. That sounds like being too organised. And this time I'm going to use it. I'm just going to push this up a little bit. Did I use this colour, or I'm thinking I might have used a darker colour? We'll go with this and we'll see. It's just looking darker on my page. Sometimes I don't write down what colours I used and then I go back and guess and it's not right. This seems a bit darker on my original art journal page. Maybe it's just because it's got 2 layers. I'll do this and we'll see. Must have used a darker green because you can't see that. Okay, what did I use then? No, I didn't use that one. What's over here? I do have some other colours beside me. Didn't use that one. Didn't use that one. Oh, it must have been peeled paint. Looks like peeled paint. Because the twisted citron is not layering on top of each other, unlike the blue that layered nicely. Okay, I'm just going to clean my blending brush a little. So to clean these blending brushes, because this is water-active ink, I could run around with the sink and wash it out, wait for it to dry. Or you can just take some paper towel and sort of run over the paper towel till the ink is not really coming out again. Going from sort of this green to this green, it's not going to contaminate your ink pad. Say if you went from like a light yellow to say a blue, you're going to do some contamination. So you just want to be a bit careful with that. So I think it's peeled paint. Now I've got to get that lined up again. Good job with that. That's right, if it doesn't line up. Really? Sorry, head in the way. Can't see what I'm doing. Which is nothing unusual. No, we're just going to wing it because I can't line that up. Can't see, it's too light. I think I used this one. Aha, it was this colour. Note to self, write colours down. Maybe. Any greens work. You could have darker greens. You could use like mowed lawn, or you could use Lucky Charm. I think there's another nice green one if you want it really green. It's not as green as the other one, but we're just going to go with it. It's more like a strawy colour. Oh, that's cool. It's going to work. I can never reproduce things exactly the same anyway. When I design a class and teach a class, I just can't make it exactly the same. It never works. But it's looking good. So I'm making sure I move my stencil to different angles, making it different heights. Where am I going? I'll do this one this way. Just to give it a bit more interest, so it's not all in nature. All our leaves or vines don't grow all the same height or all the same way. So it's good to add a bit more interest in them. Oops. So it's exactly what you're doing with the art journal page. If you wanted to turn to a scrapbook page, there are photos of all of these on my website under online classes where you can purchase the kits. So you can go and see what the photos look like, and I'll also stick them up on Facebook as well. So you can follow along or you can experiment. I love to see how people take sort of ideas and then run with them. So this one I sort of started coming out from this leaf, and I don't want any leaves or vines that are like just hanging out in midair. My brain does not do well with things that are floating. It's just me. Just want to do another stem up here. So I don't like things floating, so we're just going to make sure our vines are coming out from each other or touching each other so they don't look like they're floating. Stuff that bit up. That's right, can't see that bit now. No one saw that, they can't. So I'm just going to make sure under my dome that I have them going sort of up and under. crossways. So I've actually got lots of vine stencils on my website you can choose from, or you can get this one in the kit, or you may have a vine stencil at home that you want to give a go. It's always good to get new supplies, but it's always good to use the stuff you got at home too. I'm trying to be a good girl this year and use stuff I've got, and not just purchase new stuff because it's shiny and new and I see someone else using it and then I want it. I think we're all a bit like that. Just want to put one more up here. So we have the option, you can purchase the entire kit and caboodle if you want everything you need for the kit, or you can just buy bits and pieces. I like that option too, because sometimes I go, oh, I've got something similar at home, I don't want a similar product, which is totally cool. Okay, stop when you're happy. I think I'm happy. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to clean off that ink because I'm going to use it on the other page. This poor black page is going to get something on it that I don't want on it. So when you're removing this, you just want to gently tease it because you don't want to actually pull away at the gesso underneath. So you just want to gently take it off. Just cleaning that bit of ink up there as well. So now we have this beautiful white space that we've preserved, and now we grab the stencil version. So we've used the mask to hide the piece that we want to preserve that we didn't want to get our blue or a green in. So now we grab our stencil. So what we want to do is actually work inside the shape now. So this is going to protect you from getting gunk or ink on your beautiful background you've just done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this down, take a bit of masking tape, put it on your pants or your fluffy jumper to make it less sticky, and then we're going to, excuse me, head's going to get in the way, line this up, maybe, glasses off. Let's get serious, glasses off. Okay, I think I've got it there. Close enough, I can always fix it up. So I just want to put a bit of tape down here so I can flick it up and down. So now, we've just got to remember not to go too far beyond our plastic, and your dome will be censored because I stuffed this one up, but I fixed it for everyone else. So I get the goof ups. Now, what we're going to do is our little girl, let's get our little girl out just so we can play around with positioning. We get the girl on the swing. So if you do purchase the kit, you do get these in your kit, these black cutouts. So ideally our girl is going to sit inside our dome, and she's a fraction big, so we're going to do a little bit of surgery in a minute, but we're going to get our colour in there first. So there's no reason why you couldn't leave it white if you wanted to, but we're going to add some colour into it. So she is going to go in there eventually. Let's put her to the side for a minute. So what I like to do is inside the domes or inside the jars or the snow globes is I want to leave like a bit of white in sort of the middle or in one section of the shape, and then I want to darken my edges so you've sort of got a gradient look, if that makes sense. So we're going dark around the edges. This black is being put on later. Darker around the edges, and you want to leave like sort of a orbiness or a whiteness in the middle. Doesn't have to be completely white, but we've sort of done that with our cards as well. See how we've got this sort of whiteness in the middle and we've got darker around the edge. So I'm actually going to do a card at the end. So if you are following on with card making, we just do the leaves down here is a stamp that comes in the kit, but I'll show you one of those. I'll show you one card at the end. So about 75% of the technique is the same whether you're using card making, scrapbooking, or art journaling. Okay, now we're going to grab our fossilized amber, which is like a yellowy orange, and I've also got squeezed lemonade for a bit more of a punch of yellow. So I'm going to pick up some ink on our blending brush. So I'm going to be quite heavy-handed and start on the stencil and sort of start circling into the center. So the more concentrated colour will be at the edge. And there's no way you could have created this technique without having a stencil to preserve your background that you've already put on, because if you didn't have the stencil protecting it, you'd be just putting yellow colour all over there. So the stencils and mask sets are a really cool set to have and to use. I actually lined that up very well. Surprise, surprise, usually I don't get it lined up very well. And I have to correct it. So again, leave as much of a sort of orby, whitey looking centerness in the middle as you like. Oh, words are very, very interesting today. So once I've sort of got my edges the way I'm happy with them, I sort of then don't put any more ink on my ink blending tool and just sort of keep going over it and blending it and stopping when I'm happy. A lot of art journaling or scrapbooking card making is stopping when you're happy. Even though you take the concept of this class, your page could turn out totally different, which is absolutely fine. I say to people in my classes, it's your project, you do you. If you want to do it darker, you want to change the colours, you want to do anything like that, that is perfectly fine. I can see I've got a little bit of white. I mustn't have lined it up perfectly down the bottom, but I can just go gently over and get rid of that little bit of white. That is looking really cool. Am I happy? And do I want to add a bit more yellow? I think I might want to add a little bit of yellow. It's cleaning a bit of that orange out of the blending tool. I think a couple of them, my yellows and my oranges, might have got mucked up. Oops. I had someone crafting with me the other day, so we might have stuck the wrong ones in, but it'll work. So I'm just wanting to lighten that a bit. It's very subtle, you might not be able to pick it up on camera. I'm happy, I think I need to stop. Okay, so we're going to take our tape off. Now a trick to take washi tape or sticky tape off like this is grab your heat tool and make everything fall off your desk. No, grab your heat tool. If I just rip that masking tape off now, I may tear my beautiful page. If I give it a quick heat with the heat tool, it will just slide right off. So the heat will actually release the glue. So if you are struggling or can't get the tape off without tearing things, a little bit of heat and it just glides right off. That's stencil over here. Now, where did I put my little lady? So my little lady comes in here and she's a fraction too big, which I didn't notice till I cut them all for the class kits, but that's right, we're going to do a little bit of surgery. So we've got to take about 1/2 centimetre out of the trunk here. If you don't mind her overlapping, so this black bit here I sort of lined up with the bottom of the dome. See how the black is just protruding on the top of the dome? I personally don't like that, but if you do, you can just stick her straight down. If you want this to sit within the dome, all we're going to do is cut about 1/2 centimetre off this tree trunk here, and you won't know when you've stuck it down. So we're just going to cut about 1/2 centimetre off and stick it back down. And I think I had to move the flowers. Let's see if I have to move the flowers this time. See now, the black leaves are going to sit within the dome. That's going to overlap, and I did move these flowers. So these two flowers here, I just snipped off, and I just gently moved them so they didn't kick at her feet. So I just tuck them in like that so they're not kicking at her feet. So don't be afraid to chop up things that you've already bought. Don't think you have to use it exactly as you buy it. even though I make all these, I still chop things up. So we are going to stick her down. So you just want some good craft glue. This one's just all-purpose art glitter glue. So what I'm going to do is the little flowers I trimmed off first, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Come on, glue, behave. I was using it before. A little bit of glue on there to just attach the flowers where I want them. I was basically just shortening the stem on the flowers so her feet didn't kick them. So let's have a play with. Yep, perfect. Now, let me stick this bit on. So I'm just going to put a little bit of blob of glue on the thickest bits of my design or thing embellishment I'm sticking down. I've been naughty and cut the tip of my glue, so now it's not a fine tip, it's a gushing mess because it got blobbed up and I got angry at it and chopped its head off. Don't do that to your glue. So this glue dries clear, so if it does squish out anywhere, it's not going to matter. So now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there. So you don't have to get glue everywhere, just sort of the main bits or the fattest bits I aim for. I do want glue down near the trunk where it's overlapping a bit more on the wings. So as you can see, I've got the tiniest little bits of glue. And then I'm going to line up the tree trunk that I snipped a little bit out of. And then I'm just going to let it fall down, and then I'm just going to gently position her because she's sitting on the flower. I just don't want her touching the flowers down the bottom. I want her looking like she's swinging in midair, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, we have a few things we can do to the page if you want to. It'd be good if I could find the lid of my glue release. So I'll just bring my completed page back in. Now, you might feel that your page doesn't need these add bits, or you might find your page does. So what I've done is I've taken a black Stabilo oil pencil and I've outlined and sort of smudged around the dome, because you can sort of see the difference. At the moment, this is looking a bit unfinished. Putting the sort of the squiggly line around it, or the line around it, sort of defines it a bit more, but it's up to you if you want to leave it like this. Some of the cards I actually left. Like this one I haven't touched around the jar, for example. This one I have. So it just depends on what you think it needs. You can make that decision, but I'll show you how to do it. I think mine needs it. And then what I found was I wanted to sort of bring my foliage forward a bit. I wanted this top in the blue to be like in the background, so I didn't do any highlighting to this, but I did some highlighting down the bottom, which I'll show you what I did. So I grabbed a Stabilo or watercolour pencil, mainly because it smudges. It's a water reactive pencil, but we're actually not going to use it with water today. And hopefully I have one that has, oops, cancel. I just hit my mouse and brought up something to cancel. No, I don't want to cancel things. This one probably. So Stabilo oil pencils do come in a range of colours. You get white, yellow, red. I think there's blue, green, black is my main one that I use. So if you've never heard of a Stabilo oil pencil before, it's water reactive, so we can hit it with water and it goes like a black inkiness, or we can just use it as a normal pencil. The reason it's called an all or an ALL pencil is it draws on everything. It can go on glass, it can go on paint, it can go on wood. It's really good in mixed media because it will go over glossy things. So all I'm going to do is do a line on the edge of my dome. The reason I'm not activating it with water today is I'm just sort of smudging it with my finger, and there's enough sort of moisture on my finger or oiliness on my finger to smudge it out. If we took water to this, because these inks are water reactive, it's going to react the inks as well. So we don't want to do that. It'd be good if I could actually draw what I wanted to. So I'm just drawing a light line on the edge of the dome and sort of smudging it with my finger. if I got to do the spot. I wanted it. There we go. See how it's just defining the dome. Just be careful your fingers aren't too wet, or you don't take anything water near this pencil, because it will smudge and make an inky mess, unless that's what you're looking for. So I think I'm happy with that. Now I want to do some work on my foliage. So what I want to do is, I don't want to outline it completely because it'll just be too much. So what I want to do, and what I did on this one, is I outlined that side, the right side of all the vines and the leaves, but I didn't put any line on this left side. So what that does is that sort of tries to bring the leaf forward and adds a bit of like a shadow. Doesn't matter if you do it on the left side, doesn't matter if you do it on the right side, but do it only on one side. Don't chop and change and do half left, half right, because that will look not so good. So pick a side and stay with it. And also you want to, so I'm going to pick the right side. And also you want to define the layers. So this one here is behind this leaf. So I want to make sure when I draw around it that I'm insinuating that this one is behind that one. Does that make sense? Clear as mud, right? I'm just going to smudge that with our finger. So we're just doing the right side of the leaves, sort of adding a bit of a shadow, and they'll start to pop out. And again, when we get into leaves that are over and top, work out which one you want to bring forward, which one you want to push back. The one you want to push back is the one you'll do sort of half a line on, and the one that comes forward will sort of have the full line. See how I've just done half? Or just the left, sorry, just the right side. What are we doing? I think my leaves got a bit lost here. We'll just redefine it there. And just again, smudging with my finger. So we often do this on the sides of letters as well. When you're doing lettering, you do it on just one side. So I'm not pressing very hard. The harder you press with this pencil, the more, I suppose, graphite or whatever it is, goes on your page. And then when you water react it, the more blacky, inky stuff you get. So you want to be quite feather-handed, fairy-handed. So just working on that right side. So you can see the difference between this one here that I've done and this here. See how it just, it's making it look a bit more three-dimensional. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's hard to explain what it's doing. And it doesn't take long, and it's sometimes these finishing little touches that just bring your page to life and take it from wow to wow. That looks really cool. So again, just concentrating, and it does take a bit of thinking of working out what the right side is. The right hand side, I should say. And again, I've got something overlapping here, so I'm trying to work out where I'm... Well, that one I went all the way around because I wanted to bring it to the front. Right side, so it's this side here. You accidentally do one on the left hand side, it won't matter, but try to keep it all consistent and it will be better. That's going in front of that, so I'm just going to do a little break there. That's the wrong side. That's the right side. See, even I stuff it up. I get about 3/4 of the way through. I do this with lettering too, and then lose the plot on the last bit of it. So this can also define, that's the wrong side. Define any that are a bit lighter and you sort of want to bring them out a bit more. Let's come up this side of this one. So you don't have to use black. I could have picked a green pencil if I wanted it to be a bit more subtle, but I liked the black look. done. That's right. That doesn't have any on it. And knowing when to stop and walk away is the fun bit. And I think that just looks funny to me. Why does it look funny? I don't know. Maybe add a little bit here and I'll just not make it look funny. See, I've broken the rule. I've done a bit on the left, but it was just looking funny. I think just because it's in the background, just the shape it is. That's right. Some things look funny to me and they just bug me and I've just got to fix them. So that is that page done. So you could do like a squibbly border around the edge. You could put a quote on it. I may put a quote sticker on it eventually, but that is that one essentially done. Let's move on to our black one because the black one is fun. So let me put my Stabilo All pencil back in its pencil case because I might be looking for that in a minute. So I hope some of you give this a go, and I'd love to see if you do give it a go and see what your pages turn out like. It's always fun seeing what pages turn out like from the same idea and people use different things. It gives me ideas as well. So I'm going to pop all these colours away and their corresponding sticks. So Distress Oxides work really well on a black page, but only certain colours work well on a black page. So the best ones to use on black is your lighter colours. So say, for example, your blues and your darker colours don't show up well on black. So I've got Speckled Egg, which is like a really light blue. That shows up really, really well. Or we've got Pumice Stone, which shows up really nice because it's a nice grey. I believe there's one called Smoky something that would work as well. Fossilised Amber, we're going to throw a bit of that in. Or we could throw a bit of the Squeeze Lemonade in. Just depends on how bright you want it to be. So let me get rid of these colours we're not using. Find my sticks for... I don't know what that stick's for. That one's too green. Okay. Fossilised Amber. That one. Okay. So on this side, I have used the jar stencil. So these three stencils, the jar, the dome, and the snow globe, come in three sizes. So on the cards, we're using the baby size, the small 6x4 size. On this one, we're using the medium size, and there is a jumbo size as well. So you've got small jar, bigger jar, and then you've got like a massive jar as well to choose from, different sizes. What am I doing? Doing the jar. So I need to find my corresponding, so I need these two bits. And, okay. So this page is almost the same as the first page we did, we're just using different colours. And this is the same as the little card that we've made in black as well, which is really cool. Or the scrapbook page. So whatever craft you're into, whether you're a scrapbook or art journal or a card maker, you can use this technique. So this originally started as a card class, and then my friend goes, oh, that'd make a nice art journal class. And I took it to my last retreat in May, and then a couple go, oh, can I make that into a scrapbook page? Then it morphed into a scrapbook page, which is really cool. Okay. We're going to start with the same thing. We're going to put our jar down. We're going to find our masking tape. So again, I'm going to position my jar slightly off center, slightly down from the page. So you don't want to stick it smack bang in the middle because it looks a bit funny. So just want that small bit of tape again that we're going to make that like sticky circle with. My desk is just going to volcano at me at the moment. I've got stuff everywhere. So just making that sticky circle, folding the tape back on itself, sticking it in the middle of the jar and sticking the jar down somewhere like about maybe there. There it goes. Yep. Sounds good. So instead of two colours in our... Oops, I missed. Let me do that before I remember, otherwise I'll scuff it with something. I've got a bit of glue over here. So we did 2 background colours for our white one. This one we're only using 1 background colour. Okay. So I'm going to use Speckled Egg. So unfortunately on the black cardstock, or the black, this has got black gesso on the page, the Distress Oxides are sort of a must for going on the darker surfaces, because the normal inks that don't have that white opacity to them just won't show up, if that makes sense. So this page you could certainly experiment with your other ink pads if you don't have oxides, but unfortunately the black needs the oxides, just because it's kind of special. So what we want to do with the black, so let me bring my page back in here, is on this side page I covered the entire background. So on the black one I want to leave a bit of, sort of a bit of black orbiness around the jar. So you've sort of got this colour that we're going to put here, we'll put leaves on top, but this bit is just raw gesso. So we want to leave sort of a black border around our jar, if that makes sense. Okay, so exactly the same way, we are going to just pick up some ink and hold our dome down, or hold our jar down. I'm going to start in the edges, or near the edges. I want to go a bit darker around the edges. I think my ink pad might need re-inking. Gives your hands a good workout, this does. Don't need to go to the gym after doing an art journal page like this. So you want to make sure when you're coming in towards your jar, you don't want a solid line across. You want sort of, hopefully that hasn't, just move my microphone a bit closer to me because I'm working on this side. So you don't want a solid line. You sort of want it to be not a solid line. Sort of like misty. So this one's like a misty night, if that makes sense. Again, I'm going to get a line over here from my masking tape, but that really doesn't bother me. I had to cover up my gutter with my spine of my book because it was not behaving. So you can keep going over the top of where you're blending. Down the bottom. So if you get big blobs of your ink colour like I'm getting at the moment, I'm going to actually swap hands with my hands going. That's not fun, Melinda. Ambidextrous, I can do things with both hands. So if you get a big blob of colour, if you just blend over and over and over it, you can sort of fade it out. Worst comes to worst, you've got a big blob and you don't like it, you can go to baby wipe and sort of, because the inks are water reactive, you can just take the ink away. So see how I've sort of got it coming in here a bit and then fading up here a bit? That's sort of the look you're wanting. You may also get a bit of texture from your, you may get a bit of texture from your, think of it a minute, brush strokes when you put your gesso on. So just bear that in mind when you're painting your gesso down, that the brush strokes all go in the one direction. Usually I just paint downwards because your ink might pick up your gesso lines of paint. A little bit more down here. Again, stopping when you're happy, leaving, I know, about an inch or about 2.5 centimetres around your jar, but not in a solid line. It's awkward doing that side. Hopefully the camera isn't wiggling now. I've moved my camera off my computer. Oh, you're loving it. Thanks, Leslie. And you can do so many variations. I cannot wait to play with my jars and Halloween-y stuff. I really love Halloween, and I've got lots of bug stamps and skeleton stamps and all sorts of fun stuff. and I cannot wait to play. Just need that thing called darn time that keeps eluding me to actually have a play. And time's only going to get worse because I'm now studying part-time. Oh. My daughter wanted to enroll in a course in, what's she doing? Accounting and bookkeeping. And my daughter needs help to study, so I would be doing the course anyway and sort of sitting with her most of the time and studying. So I thought, well, I may as well enroll as well and get the certificate at the end of it, because I'm going to be doing the course anyway. So yeah, my time's going to be even more poor. I'll just have to get more organised, but yeah. Organised is not my forte at the moment. Give me a deadline and I'm good. Give me a, oh, I'll do it one day, and it's like it doesn't happen. Okay, when you're happy, stop. Am I happy? I think I am. I think I'm done. Okay. Now we bring this same foliage stencil back in. You could use a different stencil. This one, these are both new release stencils, so this one's a bit finer. This stencil I used was a bit chunkier. I cut the wrong stencils and put them in the kits, but they all work. There's a bunch of new Vine ones actually. I found a bunch of new designs that I liked and thought, ooh, that'll be fun to play with. So again, we're going to just, this cord, I don't know what it is really bugging me and sitting where it's not supposed to, and I don't think I've got a solution to it. I don't know what it's connected to, so I can't take it out. So again, positioning a different side, different angles, that's the word I'm looking for, and different heights, and we're just going to do exactly what we did on that first page. So you could end up doing like 5 different pages with this same stencil and putting different things in the oval, that thing's a dome, different things in the jars and make them totally different. You could do a whole series of them. Possibilities are endless. So you have to go quite hard on top of where you put the ink, just because it's a lighter ink. There we go, that's a bit better. Sometimes the lighter inks just need a few more layers or a bit more heavy-handedness to show up on top of each other. There we go. And then I want to do the light one here. So again, deliberately doing different, some lighter, some darker. Oh, that was too close. Oh well, we'll go here. So we are going to have, I'm going to put a little fairy up here. So we want to sort of not put a lot of vines in that sort of spot. So where's my fairy's going to go about there? So I'm just talking to myself, crafting away. Does anyone do that? Crafting away by themselves, not on a live and talking to themselves? You get the right answer then. Or you ask yourself an opinion, you get the right answer. So it's all about just playing until you're happy. Fairy. Let me get up here. And then maybe a little, just a single one here. I think I'm happy with the top. Fairy's sort of going to go here. Now we're just going to work on the bottom. These don't need to be next to each other in your art journal. You can do them on single pages. If you do have a different size journal and you don't think the sizes that I've done will suit a journal, say you wanted one, you had like a, trying to think of the name of it, you know, like the Dina Wakley one that's, yeah, it is Dina Wakley, that's like 3/4 this size. If you want a stencil that is a different size, just let me know and we can cut you one. That is easily done. I sort of made them so they fit sort of cards, sort of an A4 art journal which most people have. If you've got like an A5 art journal or the small Art by Marlene ones, you can use the really small jar. Can't wait to play with the big one. That would be cool. Because you can do more stuff inside it. Lots of ideas. Just need that thing called time. I'll get someone to do all the boring stuff I don't like, and then I'll have some more time. Ooh, that sounds good. Maybe I need an employee to give all the jobs to that I don't like doing, and then I have more creative time. That sounds like a good idea. So the pages are almost like repeating the same sort of steps. We've done the background slightly different. We're doing our viney leaves at the moment. And then we just end it off in a different way. I want a bit more up here. I think I want a bit more up here. Just a bit more under my jar so it's like it's sitting in the vines. It's not just floating. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't matter because, okay, ignore what I just said. We're going to put something on the bottom of the jar anyway. So I didn't need to do that bit. I'll do this bit up here. And I also love products that you can do multiple things with. So I sometimes look at a stencil or look at a stamp and go, ooh, how many times do I want that image in my art journal or in my scrapbook page or on my cards? But these jars and domes have so many possibilities that you can just do so many different things with them. Okay, I think I am happy. Am I happy? Am I going to stop? I think I am. Okay. So, what do we do next? Oh, well, we've got... Okay, we're going to do that. So, if you do purchase the kit, the whole kit and caboodle for the art journal class, you get your black fairy. This is also available sold separately, but I've also cut you a white piece that exactly matches. Because if we go and stick this on, it gets a bit lost if we don't have the white backing. So instead of making you cut it out like I did the first time I did this page, so if we stick this straight on, it's lost and it's not standing out really well. But if we put the white bit behind it, see how it stands out a whole lot more? We're going to ink it up in just a second so it's not so stark. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of surgery again. We're actually going to take our fairy off so we're just going to snip between her leg and the flower. So I'm just trying to see. So I've just snipped her from the flower. I'm going to put the little fairy aside in a minute. We're going to take this bit and we're going to take this bit. I'm just going to put our journal aside for a second because I want a flat surface to work on. And what we're going to do, bring the complete example back in. So you can see the difference. This is black and this is like a grey colour. We are going to ink up our black cardstock cutout and we're going to also ink up the white cutout so it's not so white, if that makes sense. So you just got to be super careful when you're inking, that's for later. Super careful when you're inking this because it is very fragile, but it can be done. So we're going to use the same speckled egg, and what we're going to do is just go over it lightly, just to knock the blackness off. And you're just going to be a bit gentle. And you're going to hold it really close to where you're inking. See how my fingers are very, very close to where I'm inking? So you can see I've done this side and I haven't done this side. And oh, you get a nice Or if you had a bigger bit of paper, you could actually get a nice design underneath and use it again. That would be cool too. Whoops. See, you don't want to move like that. Especially over these open flowers. So our black cardstock pieces are cut from 210 GSM cardstock. Our white pieces are cut from the Artie Mixed Media cardstock. So the white ones you can throw a lot of paint and ink and all sorts of stuff at them and they will hold up. The black ones are sort of more for sticking just to your page or inking a little. They don't stand up to as much mixed media stuff. So if it's a shape I think I'll just use stuck on my page or inked a little, I cut it out of black. But if you see a shape on the website that you go, oh, that would be really cool if I could attack it with mixed media, you can always email me and say, can I have such and such a shape cut out of white cardstock instead of black? Or cut out of chipboard instead of black. So once we have the shape, we can cut it in just about any material. I just don't have them all listed. There is a function on the website where I can list all the materials, but that means I have to go and edit 3,000 products, and I just can't be bothered. I'm lazy. Good job for my daughter, actually. Ooh. See how that's not so black now? Perfect. Now we're just going to give this a bit of a dulling down as well. Don't have to be as careful with this one. You could be quite a bit rough. We're just going to put a little bit of the blue on it. And it's not going to be as stark. When I put the white on it, I thought, ew, I don't like the white. So I thought, let's attack it with some ink as well. You don't have to be very smooth with your blending because you're going to stick the black thing over the top. You're only going to see like really, really small bits of it. That's it. Alright, now it should be right. I think my light is now touching my desk, so hopefully the camera's not wiggling too much. Here we go. So this sticks over like this. Awesome. Now we'll bring our, actually we'll stick this together before we bring our page back. Now it's all ready to stick down. So this white cutout thing does come in the kit. It's quite an easy shape. The first time I did this page, I actually just hand cut. I just stuck this black bit to a white bit of paper and hand cut around it. So it's not a fancy shape that you can't hand cut around it. I just thought for the ease of class, I'll just cut it for you because I'm nice. Now we just got it, whoopsies, line it up would be good. Line it up. That should fit perfectly over each other. Maybe. Hopefully I put my glue on, please stay on. Maybe we'll set that side to dry for a minute and we'll work on our fairy. Oh, I nearly grabbed the wrong journal and then we grabbed the completed journal. Okay. I do need that one back in here. So what I've done, or the theory behind this one, is the fairy's here. This is the actual paper fairy. She's sort of casting a shadow into the jar because I originally tried to put her in the jar and I couldn't decide, couldn't work out how to, like I could put it there but the colours weren't really working. So then I thought I'd cast a shadow into her, so I'll show you how to do that. If you want to just stick your fairy in your jar, you can. Actually, we have to make the jar first. Oh, I'm skipping ahead a step. We have to go back a step, Melinda. We don't have a jar to put her in. We all have a big blob of black. So we have to make a jar for her to sit in. How silly of me. Just getting ahead of myself. So we have to make a jar. So again, just going to take a bit of masking tape, stick it on my pants a couple of times to make it not so sticky. And we're just going to, we have sort of the the bottom of the foliage here. We're just going to line it up. Straight would be good. And just tack it down with a bit of tape. So again, we're using the speckled egg. That's not speckled egg. So all this on the black is nearly done with one colour, and we add a little bit of the yellow in. So again, exactly the same how we did the dome over here. We're going to concentrate our inking to the edge and then leave like a black blob in the middle. So just starting on the stencil and going round and round and round in circles till we get the desired effect we like. And having a bit of tape down the bottom, we can flip it up and see how it's going, whether we like it. It's a bit hard to see with the big stencil on what it's looking like against your page. I've got to say that over the side page. So my fairy, where did she run away to? Her shadow is going to be sort of cast into here. So you want to leave most of the jar black and only do sort of the edge. But again, it's up to you. I think I'm liking that. So she's going to sort of cast a shadow into there. When you're happy, take your stencil off. Again, just remember to heat the tape up. Tape just peel straight off. Okay. Now we can play with our fairy. Okay. So what I'm going to actually do is use the fairy as a stencil. Now you've got to be... What happened to my computer? Ah. My computer screen just all of a sudden went black and I thought I've had a computer crash. No, it was just my screen decided I hadn't touched anything for a while. It decided it wanted to go to sleep. Computers, I don't know. So we are going to use our fairy as a stencil, and it's going to do two things. It's going to put colour on her, and it's going to sort of stencil her shadow. But you've got to be really careful because she's very fragile. So it's really hard to see, but I'm sort of going to position her in the jar, and I'm just going to go very gently around her. So this is doing two things. This is putting the yellow on her, and we're going to deepen that in a minute, so don't worry about too much about her getting colour on her. You're more getting colour around. So if I just flip with my finger, see how you're sort of getting the shadow. Oops. Get back where you're supposed to be, fairy. Stop moving around. Stop flying around. So basically when I take the fairy off, I'll have a black shape of a fairy with like the background a bit more yellow, if that makes sense. See what we've got. We need to define her a bit more. Oh, we need to line her up. Oh, there we go. She needs a little bit more around here just to define her. So this is sort of casting a shadow, so it doesn't have to be exact, but I do want it to look like a fairy. I'm missing her hand. Her hand is one of the worst things to ink around because it's so fine. Let's see if I can get a bit around her wand in her hand without breaking the wand in the hand. And just gently, sort of more, not in a circling motion, more in like a flipping motion. There we go. Now, I want her to be more orange, so I'm going to grab a scrap bit of paper again. I'm going to add more colour to her. Again, be very careful because it is only black cardstock. But again, I'm holding it really close to where I'm inking. So I'm not holding down here and inking up the top. It's probably the best tip I can give you. And probably having really juicy ink pads is good for this. Mine probably need re-inking, which I forgot to do before I come on live. Just do her legs. Whoops, you don't want to do that. And look, you're a nice fairy on a paper. Could use her for something. So I just want to position her up here, but I think she needs a bit more yellow. I wonder if we put a bit of squeezed lemonade on her, will it make her brighter? She's just fading in a bit to the background for my liking. I like her body, but her wings aren't standing out as enough. Seriously, her wings aren't standing out as much as I'd like. Oh, I'm giving some great tips. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. When I craft, I tend to like to know the ins and outs of everything. If something has a second purpose and why I'm doing it, I find some teachers just do it and don't explain why they're doing it. Sometimes I wonder if I explain too much. Just like to see myself talk, but I like to know the ins and outs of why things are working, so. And I think that's made her wings a bit. Aha, see how she's a bit brighter, but now she's got a big spot in her butt. I better get rid of. So it's all about playing till you're happy. If you like the way it looks, you might not have wanted to put some more yellow on her wings. A bit more on the bottom of her wings. Oh, you're the same, Jacqueline. You like to know the ins and outs of everything that's working and why it happens. And yeah, I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit of a nosy person. Oh, there we go. I like her. See how she's standing out, but you don't want her to stand out too much, but you want her to stand out enough that she's standing out. Does that make sense? Yeah, half the time I don't make sense. Okay. So, sorry, just looking at my other page. Yes, we will stick these on, and then we have some finishing with a pencil. Or what did I do on the other one? Hang on, I'll have to have a look. So I was umming and ahhing when I designed this page, do I stick this on or not? This felt like it went, or it didn't look out of place with the dome and the leaves. This, to me, the jar looked like it was floating. So I was umming and ahhing, and then it was like, after moving it around 20 times and putting it there, I thought just stick the darn thing there and we'll go with it. But the jar, to me, seemed like it was floating more than that one. I don't know why. Maybe just my weird head space, but I do like how this turned out. So I decided to stick it. Oh, it's probably way too much glue. I have to get a new glue bottle that I don't attack the top of the lid. That is way too much glue. Let's get rid of some of that because that's going to be a disaster. Which is nothing unusual for me. We've had a glue disaster. Sort of something like that. And I'm going to grab a fairy on. I've got glue everywhere. Oops. So again, I ummed and ahed about whether to stick the fairy up here, and then I go just stick and plonk it Melinda, just stick it down. Just be careful when using a baby wipe because I've got water reactive ink, but I've just got too much glue there. It should dry clear. Now to finish this page off, it's just finishing accents like the other page. What have I done on this one? Oh, I have used the silver and the white. I was wondering. Oh. So on this one, to accent the leaves down here, I've used a silver gel pen and just done like a wiggly outline. And then I've done some white up here with a Stabilo oil pencil and some white markings on the jar. So let's do that. So good old Kmart. I love Kmart lately. They've got some really cool stuff. I bought these a while ago, so hopefully I've still got them. They're just fine tip gel pens. I think Michelle Grant got me onto these ones. I'm very bad for watching someone's video and going, oh, that looks like fun, I need it. At least we're using it. So what I want to do is just do sort of a wiggly outline around the stenciling we put down. And I'm not being too precise. This pen will struggle a little with the ink, but it gets there eventually. I don't mind that it's a little gappy. If I wanted it to be perfect, I'd probably have to find a different pen. But any sort of silver gel pen would work. Just to sort of bring, there's a bit of whiteness here, and there's no sort of whiteness in the other part of the page. It was like this page. There's blackness here, but there wasn't any blackness anywhere else on the page, and that sometimes looks a bit funny. So if you can bring sort of a bit of black into here, it sort of helps to balance the page, if that makes sense. And it doesn't take much. Like, this isn't much white or much colour, and I'm doing it quite quickly to not be perfect, and I shouldn't have done it that way, because look at me, I'm probably going to drag my hand back in what I've done. But I'm sort of just doing a scribbly line around the stenciling just to give it a bit of a highlight. And if I'm not completely, yes, I could put the stencil back. That means I've got to line it up. No, that's not going to happen. If I'm not completely exact, it doesn't really matter. It's more of a scribbly line. If you try to go to exact and you can't, it looks funny, so just go scribbly. Oh, now the pen's working a bit better over this side. Oh, it wouldn't work on the other side. Maybe it needs a bit of time to get going. See how that's just... What's that down there? That needs a bit more down there. Just trying to see where my leaves were. Oh, maybe your gel pen just needs a bit of time to warm up. So stopping when you're happy. Again, this one I've traced all around the front of and brought it forward, and then the other layer is sort of pushed back. So just be a bit mindful of when you're going over things that are overlapping, of which you want to bring forward and which you don't. Leslie, you went in an hour later. Yeah, I unfortunately have free delivery with Officeworks. Well, unfortunately, I pay $4 a month with, it's Kmart, it's Officeworks, some things at Bunnings, Target, and a couple other places, and then it's free delivery. And even though we have an Officeworks in my town, I get way too many deliveries from Officeworks with different things. So it can be you go in for one thing and yes, come out with a handful of them. It's like someone used a Stabilo oil pencil many years ago and black, and then Officeworks had every colour, so of course I had to go buy every colour. So Stabilo oil pencil in white, we're going to use now. Probably needs a bit of a sharpen, but we'll see how it goes. I stole my daughter's sharpener, so I had one on my desk. So what I want to do is I want to define the jar a bit. I find with Officeworks, our local store never has stock, so it always comes, if I order like 3 paint pens, I'll get one on one day, one on the next day, and one on the day after with delivery. It's funny. My career delivery person thinks it's hilarious. Because they ship out from different stores. Our store never has any stock. So I'm going to do just a bit of white on this side of the jar. We're imagining that we've got a light source over here, so it's sort of hitting here with the light. So if we did it all the way around, it might look a bit funny. If you want to do it all the way around like you did this oval, go for it. I just felt it needed it on the side, and all I did up here was did again on the right side of the leaves just to highlight them a bit more. to make them stand out. You might find your jar and leaves are standing out enough. You don't want to add a little bit more highlight to them. Whoops, broke the tip of the pencil. So this side of the jar is actually quite defined. This side is sort of fading a bit, so we'll get a bit of white over here. And these final touches are all personal choice. I may say, for example, I photocopied this page and I gave it to 5 different people and say add white to places you think it needs it. Everyone would add white to a different spot. It just thinks like it's where you think it needs something. And then I'm just putting an indication in of where the jar lid would be, because this is sort of the metal lid on the top. I'm just sort of giving an indication that where the jar lid is, if that makes sense. Whoops. Again, smudge it with my finger. There's enough water and oils on my finger, and that looks funny. Why does it look funny? Because I've done an extra line. I don't like that bit down there. Let's see if I can take it off with a baby wipe without boogering everything up. Oh, looks like I can. Okay. So the white Spiller oil pencil is water reactive again, so I was able to remove a little bit of line I didn't like. And now we're going to just, again, pick a side, right side, left side, doesn't matter, but pick one. And we're just going to add a little bit of a highlight or a shadow, probably a highlight because it's white, on the right side, the right hand side of my leaves, just to push them out a bit from the background. You might find you like it just with the ink. If you don't like the highlights, don't do it. So I say to people in my class, it's all about choice. You have lots of choices in my class. You choose when to stop. You choose what to add to your page. I don't get offended. If you want to copy my page exactly, go for it. If you want to make changes, go for it. It's also fun to see people make changes to it, because then I go, ooh, that's a good idea. Put that idea away for later in my memory bank. It's like a lady turned this into a scrapbook page at my event, the card class, and it's like, ooh, I like that idea. That's all about just play. Art journaling and card making, scrapbooking is all about play. Play till you're happy. This is interesting up here. I'm just trying to pick out the sides that I want to do. So you could do this with a white, say a charcoal pencil if you didn't have a Spiller oil pencil, or a white, maybe a watercolour pencil. I don't know whether watercolour pencils come in white. You could do it with a bit of chalk, like a chalk pastel or something if you didn't have a white pencil. So just experiment and see what is in your stash that you can use. Oh, thanks, Tim. I like giving lots of arty hits and tips. It's fun. As I said, I like to know the ins and outs of how things work. So, and if you are catching the replay or watching the replay, or say watching the class and following along again, I personally like to watch a live once just to watch it and to get an idea of the steps and get an idea of the complete project. And then I like to replay the video and actually start and stop the video as I can do the page. It's just personally what I like to do. So if you've got any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to pop a comment in the either Facebook feed or the YouTube feed, however you're watching it, and I will answer any of your questions. I think I'm happy. Have I done anything else to the other page? Oh, I did a scribbly border around the other page. Does it need a scribbly border this time, though? That is the question. So I've just noticed I've done a bit of a scribbly border around with the gold. Let's do that. Why not? So I sort of did the scribbly border, but not, oh, come on, pen, come out of the packet. All around. I sort of made the border more sort of fade into the background. So I didn't go over the top of the leaves, I went around them. So there's no leaves here, so I'll sort of do a scribbly border. I like borders on my pages. And then I sort of went between the leaves, so the leaves are looking like they're going to the front. So when I'm doing journal pages or sort of cards, I think of foreground or something in the front, which is like the focal image, and then I think of something in the, it's not much wiggly over here, my leaves are going to the edge of the page. So something in the foreground, something like in the middle ground, and then something in the background, and that sort of gives it depth. And you can sort of push and pull your different elements to make them appear in the background. So because I've done this border between the lines here, hopefully you can see that. See how the leaves are sort of at the front? Because this line around the border is behind them, ideally. So they're in the leaves are sort of in the foreground, the jars in the middle ground, and these are sort of up in the background, if that makes sense. So that page is essentially done. I might have to find quotes for these pages. I didn't, maybe a little word quote or something. I didn't put quotes on them. Oh, Linda, you just woke up. Oh, you haven't been well. I noticed that in another post. Thanks, Angela. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you one of the cards and how we finish off the cards. So basically, the scrapbook pages and the art journal page are exactly the same, except you've just got more real estate. You've got more room. Obviously, you do more foliage across the top and across the bottom. So they're ideally, essentially, exactly the same, art journal page or scrapbook page. You just got room for a photo. The cards are sort of the same, but we finish them a little differently. So I've got time, we're going to quickly do a card. Which card would you like to see? Do you want to see a coloured one or do you want to see the black one? Pop up a comment, and whoever's got the most comments in black or coloured, I will do that one. So if you do purchase the card kit, you get a lovely stamp from, where's the stamp even from? Recollections. So you get a clear stamp set within the card kit. You also get, you obviously get your 3 stencils. So you get your snow globe, you get your dome, and your, that's your jar stencil. You get cardstock. I can't remember how much cardstock you get, but you get enough to make 4 cards. And then you get some of this little paper pad. We don't actually use the pattern papers in it, but we use this sheet of little cute animals. Coloured one, black one. Oh, I think coloured's one. So you get this little cut-out, punch-out page of little animals to use. So we are going to do that. So these are a couple of the coloured ones I've done. Don't look too hard at this one. This is why you heat up your tape to take it off, because I've goofed up. But exactly the same sort of technique, we just finish them off in a slightly different way. So we need to find our little jar that goes with that. Maybe. Did I bring it across here? I'm sure I threw it in my bucket. Please have thrown it in my bucket. Because otherwise... Ah, there it is. Why is it always the last thing you got to pick up? So this is a 6x4 stencil with your jar cut out of it. Then you also get in this one, this is a 6x6. I don't know whether I have the matching, I didn't grab the matching one, the stencil for this. So this is the size snow globe you get, so again you could use this on the page, and then you get a dome as well that is this size. So let's grab our inks out. We need this one back out, we need this one, we need this one. So we're going to put our mason jar mask down like we did on our art journal page. Oh, this tape is bugging me. Not being able to find the end of it. I'll be smart and fold it over itself. Oh, hi Jenny. You're joining us from somewhere over somewhere. Where are you? South Africa now. So I'm just trying to get something off my screen. Where's my mouse going? Oh, come on, mouse. Why's my mouse not working? Oh, come on. Come on, computer. Be nice. Oh, there it is. It's back again. Okay. So what I've done is I've cut a square of 6x6 Biarti mixed media cardstock. And if you purchase a kit, you get cardstock in the kit. And I've actually just taped it to a cutting mat. So you want a cutting mat that's not too cut up. I would have done it to my glass mat, but the shine from the light above is icky on camera. So you just want to tape it to something so your card's not going to slide around. So I've just taped it down with masking tape. Now you've got to remember, when you want to take this masking tape off later, you must heat it up. Otherwise you'll do what I did and rip your card, or rip your card and your beautiful work, which is not going to be good. So again, we're just going to roll that tape around so it's all sticky on all sides and tack our little jar down. Grab a piece of this scrap paper we've used before for our dividing our sky from our water. No, not our water, our sky from our green grass. I'm going to start with the sky first. Where's my blue? Where's my blue thing? Here we go. Okay. So we're going to go with Faded Jean again in our Distress Oxide. Ink up our blending tool. We're going to turn this over, and that's going to be our mountain range. Again, we don't want a I'm just thinking, I want a bit higher. We don't want a straight across line. So this is the torn off scrap that we had before from our art journal page. And then we're just going to hold down our jar, hold down a bit of paper, and go round and round with our ink. So taping down your card will also give you a nice little border, or you can also just cut it off and cut off the white bit and mount it on another colour. So this one I've like triple mounted. I need 10 hands to hold this bit of paper down. So again, just going round and round circles. This one, the cards are a lot quicker because you've got a little surface area. Not as much as the art journal, definitely not as much as the scrapbook page. But I can imagine lots of little goodies in these jars, especially for Halloween, lots of spooky stuff. Okay. So we've done with our blue, and I'm deliberately did the blue about a third because I'm going to have vines and I want a bit more stamping down the bottom. So now we're going to do our green. We're going to find our green stick. That's not it. That's not it. That one might be it. I'm just trying not to muck up too many of my sticks with just all sorts of colours. I think this is the green one I want. So we're going to go in with Twisted Citron again. Hold down our jar, come up to the blue, and just go round and round in circles. And then we can bring our blue stick back and just go over and make it a nice blend. So again, we're wanting to hold our jar down so it doesn't move, because we want that to be white underneath. Whole purpose of using the mask. And I feel like I'm all... Actually, what I should be doing is moving... I'm nearly done. So moving my card around so I'm not look like I'm twisting myself up in circles, trying to work backwards. So stop when you're happy with the amount of colour you've got, which I think I'm happy with that. Now I just want to, we're going to do the water technique again because I like that. We're just going to cover this up because I don't particularly want water splats in my green. If they accidentally get there, that's okay. And I had a water bottle. Again, we're just going to squirt into a hand and throw blobs of water. Like when you splatter, you hope they land where you want them to land and not all over the place. Sorry guys, I just kicked the camera. I've just got to find a stamping block. That's the only thing I didn't grab. And I hope I have one in here. Is it here? While that water's doing its thing, I'm just looking for a... Found it. The only thing I didn't grab was a stamping block before. So that water's had a few seconds to sit and do its thing. And we're just going to quickly roll. And we've got some spots. can either, so this particular card here, I've done spots in the background. This one I changed it up, did spots in the jar. So you can put your spots anywhere you like and you can have a few different looks. Now we want to put colour in our jar, so we want to gently take this off without wrecking our cardstock underneath. It usually comes off pretty easy because it's only really thin piece of tape. We want to find our jar stencil. Another piece of tape, or I can reuse this one. Excuse my head while I line this up. My lovely hair comes in the shot. I think that's really good. We're going to tack this down and we're going to work inside our jar now. We're going to find our blue. I've only got a few colours out. Oh, there it is, hiding. So we're again going to concentrate on the edge of the jar and the lid, and then leave like an orby white blobby thing in the middle. Orby white blobby thing. Yep, full of words to go. Just making sure that's lined up. Sorry, sometimes when I have to line things up, I have to get my eyes quite close to where I am seeing, just because I have low vision, and then my head gets in the camera, which is always fun. I'm trying to keep my head out of frame. So just starting on the stencil and going round and round in circles and doing more on the edge than in the middle. Ideally, I'd probably turn this around so I'm not turning myself in circles trying to get to the other side. Just be very careful you don't come off the edge of the stencil. You could put another piece of scrap paper here to protect the backing, but Mel's just going to wing it and hopefully she doesn't go across the stencil, off the stencil. So what do I want to put? Hopefully the camera isn't wiggling. I can hear my tripod tapping on my table. Let's have a squizzy before we take our stencil off because it's going to be so hard to line it back up again. What have we got? Pretty. We've got a little bit of white showing here. You can just take your tool and just dust that. Obviously I didn't get it lined up exactly, but you won't be able to see that. Okay. Now, so that's exactly the same thing we've done on the art journal page, exactly the same thing we do with the scrapbook page, but instead of using a stencil to do our viney things, we've got a lovely stamp. So in this recollection stamp set, I've used this one here. So we want to grab this little stamp set out. There's a few different ones you could use in here. I've used this one here. I'm going to put it on our stamping block. And then we're going to stamp our leaves along the bottom. So you can take your leaves up. This one I've done sort of different heights. You can just do sort of one level, one row. What we need to do is see how the leaves are not on top of our jar. So what we need to do is we need to find our jar stencil mask. And why do they always just hide on our table? So we need to grab our mask and hide our jar again. So we need that little bit of tape we had. A little bit of tape all around itself, that's all sticky. And we want to put our jar back on here to hide, excuse my head again, to hide the jar so we don't stamp on top of the jar. So I'm just going to grab a black archival ink pad. Why archival? Because that's the one I had at hand. You could use the black, what's the black called? I think it's called black soot. Could use Distress black soot. I just like archival because it's the one I usually reach for the most. So all we're going to do is have fun stamping. So what I want to sort of do is I want to make sure that I'm overlapping the stamp over my masking tape, so my leaves aren't floating just above my card. So you want to make sure when you're stamping into this bit of masking tape that's covering up your white bit. So I want to sort of stamp here. And then what I like to do is do what we call a second generation stamp, or not re-ink and stamp again, to like make a shadow. And I'm going to move the shadow up a bit because then when I stamp the next one's going to stamp over the shadow in the foreground, if that makes sense. So I've got one here and this sort of shadowy one here. I'm going to ink up again. Oh, missing some comments. Hang on. Where can you see this on YouTube, please? Oh, okay. Jacqueline, so this will be up on YouTube sometime tonight. So my YouTube channel is the same name as the business, so Scrapbooking and when I load it up, I will put a link on the Facebook page. I can probably... Oh, I can't type. I can't type. My keyboard's not plugged in at the moment, so I can't type it in the URL. But it's basically Scrapbooking and Craft on YouTube. How does he have to go? You have to watch the rest later. It's just finishing off the card, really, showing you the different bit that we think, how we finish off the card. So unfortunately, Facebook have changed their rules because Facebook like to change things. So now any lives that are on Facebook disappear after 30 days. So I've always transferred mine to YouTube anyway, because they're easy to find. And when I upload it to YouTube, I will pop a link in the Facebook group as well, so you can find it. And once the classes are up on YouTube, they're there forever. They're until YouTube decide to change things. Hopefully they never do. But there's lots of free classes up on YouTube. All the free lives that go up on Facebook when I do them, been a bit slack lately, are on there. So there's 2 or 3 years worth of different things, free classes I've done on the YouTube channel. I apologise, I can't type it into the comments because my keyboard's not plugged in. I can't reach my laptop to type. Joys of having low vision. I have my laptop off to the side. I have a massive screen that I can see things on. And then I have a keyboard and then I have a mouse. And I've had to sacrifice the keyboard to plug everything in today. So basically just stamping and filling up. Again, different levels. Again, some of this second generation and faded stamping. Just to, again, turning your stamp a little, angling it. And I'm planning on doing, if you've just joined us, another free class at the end of July. Don't know what that one is yet. That's next week's problem. To work out what that one is. And one at July, August, and September, and then hopefully ongoing. I'm hoping to get back into Facebook and do a bit more stuff. It's just, life is just keeping me way too busy. Well, sometimes I have the time and I just don't have the energy or the mental capacity to come on here and isn't that terrible? I plan to do a live and then life happens and then it just doesn't happen. Okay. Again, stopping when you are happy. I think I am happy. Actually, I'm just seeing if I can get that one a bit darker up there. Okay, stopping when you're happy. So again, just wiggle off our jar. So this will come off with, if you're quick enough, with a baby wipe or with archival ink removal. If you've not done it with an archival ink, it will wipe off anyway. If it stains, it doesn't really matter. Once it's dried on there, it's going to come off pretty good. Once it's set on there with archival, it's not going to move. Okay, so that's looking really cool. So I'll just make sure that's all dry. Should be all dry. It doesn't take long. Now, ooh, now we get to play with bugs and things. Where are my bugs and things? What have I got? I've got a half sheet here. Let's pick something off the half sheet. So if you do purchase this card making kit, you'll get some of this paper pad. You get some pattern papers, which we didn't actually use in class. But you get this whole sheet of little critters. You get the owl, the lizard, the little snail, the whatever that is, squirrel, and some of the leaves and things, and the echidna. Or it could be a hedgehog. So what are we going to use? Do we want the echidna? Do we want... let's see what the echidna looks like. So these are punch outs, but they do have a grey line of material around them. So I'm just going to cut that off in a minute. So maybe we have the hedgehog. This one, Alexis, my daughter, my 17-year-old, said the snail had to sort of try to get out of the jar. That was her her contribution. So we could have a nut, an acorn in the jar with him, maybe. Oh, now I can't pick it up. Maybe he's eating the acorn. I don't know whether hedgehogs will eat acorns, but he might be able to. I could sit up here. Or do we have him sitting on, or maybe the pine cone? Oh, that's going to be a pain to cut out though. That's right. Unfortunately, these do come with the little bit of grey, but that's all right. We can easily cut them around. So let's have one pair of scissors. Nope. Oh, thanks, Angela, for putting that link in. Come on. My mouse keeps freezing for some reason. My mouse does not like me. My computer hates me lately. I don't know, anything technology this year, just, I keep breaking things. I keep having to replace things. So basically just going to fussy cut that little bit of grey around from the shapes. Doesn't take that long. Be as fussy as you want. So there's the echidna. Echidna, or he could be a porcupine, I think, in America. And see, there's a squirrel on here. I think it might be an American, a lot of animals, but that's right. I'm not being too fussy if there's little bits that I cut off when I cut them out. Doesn't matter. I lost the other thing I was cutting out. Where'd my pine cone go? Oh. Seriously. I just had a pine cone. No, pine cone's gone. I've obviously flipped it somewhere. Right. I'm sure I'll find it after live. Okay, fine. We will do something else on here because I think it needs something else. No, I can't see my pine cone anywhere. Come on. No, it's gone. How about the little spider? I hate when I do that. I pull something out and then I just flip it and it just disappears. Only my desk that eats stuff. Quick look on the floor. No, couldn't see it with all the other crud that was on the floor anyway. I think my house needs a vacuum. Okay, so I'm just going to do the little spider. Or the little bug. But I'm not going to be real fussy with the bug. I'm just going to take off the excess. I'm not going to go all in between his little leggies because that's just too much hard work. So what I did do to these shapes, just to make them stand out a bit more, I grabbed a, not that one, I grabbed a, it's sitting on the card, the pine cone. There's the acorn. I thought I had another shape, doesn't matter. I thought I pulled out 3. I know, I might find it in a minute. Oh, we'll go with the spider. So what I grabbed was just a cheap marker. You could do it with an alcohol marker, you could do it with a paint marker, and I've just sort of edged the shapes. I lose stuff all the time when I'm crafting. I'm absolutely dreadful. I'm just sort of edging so they will, see how it just stands out a bit more and it doesn't get as lost. Again, personal choice. I like things to have high contrast and stand out a bit more. If you like them to be more subtle, one thing I'm not, you can have them just sit on. So I'm just basically using the side of the marker just to mark on the side of the paper. So they just have a little bit of a border. What else have we got to do? We have the jar to define. Now, personal choice. Do you want to add lines to your jar? Do you want to keep your jar plain? I think I want to add lines to my jar. Again, we'll get that black Stabilo All pencil. And we'll do it with that. It's actually handy having your card taped down to, this is a cutting mat, or your glass mat, or something, because then it doesn't, sorry, trying to see what I'm doing. This is why I don't do a lot of cards, I can't see what I'm doing. on smaller things. There we go. So again, just smudge it with my finger. Yes, we could smudge it with water, but then it would probably smudge the ink, and that would be a whole lot of a mess, so let's not do that today. But the Stabilo oil pencil will smudge with water. And then I'm just going to put a hint in of where the metal rings of the jar are in the lid. Just a bit of an indication. And we'll stick our little, oh, there it is. Oh, it was on the, oh, God, some days. Don't craft with Melinda, some days. I found it. It was on the card. See, I have low vision and I can't see what sometimes is right in front of me. Thanks, Rosalind. I just found it. Oh, God, I feel like a goose now. Some days I wonder. Some days I shouldn't be crafting. That's usually when I call the teenager, Alexis, I've lost something. Oh, Mum, what have you lost now? And she comes out and finds it for me. She's funny. I just like a little cluster of things. You could use stamps. You could stamp. I'm sure you've all got lots of little stamp images you could use. These are just some cute die cuts I found. So I thought we'll use those and the bugs in there. So I stuck those on. Couple more things to do. We have, that's last, that, and we have to stamp a sentiment if we want to. Let's do that. Now, because that's punched out of there, we're probably going to lose the whole thing again. Now I've lost my stamping block. Seriously, this guess is just horrendous. What are we going to do? Let's go thank you. So I like this stamp set because I had a couple of sentiments on it and a couple bits of foliage on it. So you've got a few choices of what you want to use. So this particular one, I've sort of done the circle from this one and just stamped the sort of 3/4 on the side and put best wishes in it, and then stamped a little bit of foliage up the top. Excuse the wiped bit of ripped paper. Or you can just stamp the word. Let's just stamp the word like this one. I like thank you. So we've got to stamp our word. We've got to colour in our, yes, that is up the right way. Let's make sure that before we stamp it. A couple more things to do, and then this card is finished. So it's amazing. One concept, we can take it from card making to a card, to an art journal page, to a scrapbook page. I don't like doing this straight on the card because if it doesn't work out, then it's goofed up, but we're going to go with it. We're going to cross our fingers and make it work. Or hold it for a few more seconds just to make sure it works. This is why I don't like stamping straight on things. You make a beautiful card and then you can goof it up by goofing up the last bit, which is usually what I do. It worked almost, except the U's a bit light. That's all right, we're going to go with it, because if I try to attempt to stamp it again, we're going to totally stuff it up. So what I did on this card, and you might not be able to see it on camera, I've done on that one too. I have. Did I do it on the other one? Oh no, I think I've only got 3 cards. So what I've done is, in the inside of this foliage, I've actually gone in with a green gel pen, the same pack we had the silver one from. I think I used this one. Did I use a dark one? I'm going to use this one. So what I've done is just gone in, I'll take my glasses off, apologise if my head is in the way. So see how this foliage is loopy? All I've done is gone into each loop of the foliage and given it a bit of green. So then the foliage, I'll just do this side of it and show you. I'm marking on the masking tape. I don't need to do that till I'm not being particularly careful. I'm just sort of colouring in the biggest loops of the stamp, just to make it stand out from the background, because the loops in the stamp are the same colour as your background. You can do this with a pencil. This is a metallic gel pen, but it was a nice fine green thing that I had, so I used it. Let's see if we can see that. Can you see the difference? I've done this side, and I haven't done this side. So I can continue to do, I'm hoping my head's not getting in the way. My head is in the way, I apologise, and I'll be a quick minute, and my big head will get out of the way. Don't have to be really exact and really perfect. It's more just to make the leaves stand out a bit more. Last lot of leaves. I'll fix any up I missed when we are finished. Okay, two last things we've got to do. We've got to get our card off our sticky tape. So we're going to grab our heat tool. And peel our tape off. So it should peel like butter when you heat it up. And always tear in this downward direction, and it's a lot easier. Just watch your fingers, it gets blooming hot. I've got one last bit to go and start it off. I think it's this big blob. Actually, put it on this side. Aha! Put that back up there. Now we've got our beautiful card off. Actually, I'm going to trim it down because I've got a bit of stickiness for some reason from the tape down here, which I might be able to actually roll off. We'll see. Or I might be able to. I can feel a bit of that stickiness from the tape still there, so I'm just rolling with my fingers and we should be able to roll it off. That's right, I'm going to cut the card down anyway. So if you do have marks when you're taking your masking tape off, not a problem, you can just trim your card down. And then you can mount it on, this one was the black card that I then mounted on white. These ones I just, well that one's not mounted, this one I just mounted on the top of the black card. So the last thing I did is just a scribbly border with a fine pen. And then that's our card done, because at the moment it looks a bit, if you compare these two, this one looks a bit sort of unfinished and it doesn't really have a defining edge, so that's why I like the little bit of the scribbly border. So when I'm doing a scribbly border, I like to always have my hand going in the one direction. So just on the edge of the inky bit, I'm just going to go up and down 3 times. I'm going to move my card around every time instead of moving my hand. I'm going to cut quite close to this card and cut a lucky bit off. I don't know why my masking tape did that. Do that bit the other day. I don't know. Always happens on camera, doesn't it? I can make a perfect example off camera. As soon as I turn the camera on, something goes wrong. So having your hand going this way all the time is better than trying to do this or trying to do this. And 3 lines looks better than 1. If it's a bit wonky, well, that's a bit wonky. See how that sort of framed our little card? No, not that one. That one's better. And what I'll do is I'll trim that card up. I'll trim most of that white off and then mount it on a black little card. And then that card is finished. So with the same technique of our things in jars, or our things in domes, or our things in snow globes, which I haven't played with yet, we can make cards. We can make scrapbook pages. And I'll make sure to load pictures of all these on Facebook so you can see them if you want to copy them. And now I've got ink everywhere. We have an art journal page using all the same technique and just changing it around slightly. Cannot wait to see what you put in your jars. I cannot wait to play around with this technique a bit more. Definitely the snow globe. I reckon that's got lots of possibilities of different things I can do with that, especially Christmas. This would be a nice Christmas one. So thank you very much for bearing with me and watching my class today. Hang on, I've got something picked up on the screen. Thank you very much. So we do have a sale on the website until the end of the year. The end of the year. Sorry, correction. The end of the financial year. So until Monday night, there's 20% off everything on the website. And I put the new July release up. So if you're quick, you can grab the discount on the new stuff. And the new stuff is the stencils. And this one's new as well. And you can also get 20% off the class kits if you want to purchase the entire kit for any of the art journal, scrapbooking or card making classes. Thank you very much for taking some time out of your Sunday. I was wondering what day of the week it was. Thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday or watching the replay. And if you've got any questions or need any help, don't hesitate to pop a comment in either the Facebook feed or the YouTube feed, wherever you're watching it from, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Are there any questions before I go and clean up the entire mess I've just made on my desk? I'll give you 30 seconds to a minute to pop any questions in, or I have to go clean up a mess I've made. So I'd prefer not to clean up the mess. I actually do have lots of orders to go pick. Our sale's been very popular. You're keeping me on my toes. So if there's no questions at all, can't wait to see what you create. So do post it in the Hillbilly Shenanigans group if that's where you're watching this, or if you just want to private message me a copy of your work, what you've done. I'd love to take a sticky bake. Thank you very much, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for continuing to watch this video. I had a request from someone to actually do a short video of doing this card as well. It's basically the same technique as the coloured cards. It's just black and white. Same technique as the art journal page you have probably watched. But I thought I'd throw this one at the end for anyone that is interested in making the owl card. So we want to start with a black card base. So this is black cardstock that's 225 GSM, I think, so it's nice and thick. It's not textured, it's a big arty cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I've cut it down to be just over 6 inches, basically cut it in 4, and I'm going to tape it to my cutting mat. The reason I like to tape it to my cutting mat is it just holds it in place while I'm wiggling my ink around. I'm just going to use the guide on the cutting mat just to put it 1 square, which I have no idea what that measurement is. Is that centimetres? Is it a centimetre? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, probably a centimetre. I am going to trim, I lost the end of my tape, I am going to trim the card down. So we're basically repeating this. So this little black bit here is attached to the card, and this is where I've masked off with the masking tape, and then this white bit is the card base. So in the end. You can mount it how you like, or you could leave it. The reason I specifically don't like to work on the full card is because I tend to get crap all over the back of the card. It's just me. I'm a messy person. So I tend to like working on card fronts and then mounting them to my card. So I'd probably put this on my glass mat more than anything. That's probably a bit too much. But my glass mat and filming don't like each other because the light reflects off the glass mat. So you can work on a glass mat at home. You could even do this on a piece of cardboard, like on the back of a piece of 12 by 12 paper pack or something, like a heavy bit of cardboard. Just helps you, just helps your page stay down while you're inking away. So it's just regular masking tape. You could use washi tape too, but I've got masking tape at my disposal, so I'm using that. So we're using the mask and the stencil set again. So we're going to start with our mask. And we are going to do the same trick we did with the art journal pages. We're going to take a small piece of tape, roll it back on itself so it's sticky like on the outside. And then pop a little bit in the middle and tack it down. So I want to just offset it to one side. I'm offsetting it to the right hand side. I don't want it smack bang in the middle. And I'm positioning it sort of down the card a bit, so not smack bang in the middle again. Also, clear as mud, right? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to grab our blending sticks again and our Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink. Ink up our brush. What we're going to do is we're going to leave a bit of a black space around the jar. This one I went quite close to it. I'll probably leave a little bit more space this side. But you're sort of wanting to do the background but not do the incomplete background. That makes sense. So starting on our, let's get some more ink on our brush. Starting on our masking tape, we are going to then circle onto our card. Big blob where I probably didn't want it. Okay, yeah, I said leave some room around the card, didn't I? Okay, we're going to leave room around this side. I brought my tape in a little bit further on this card than I have on my sample card, and I'm wondering why it looks a bit different, but that's alright. There's no right and wrong way in crafting, we just slightly do it a different way. So this is like giving it a smoky effect. So I'm going a bit darker bright on the edge of the cardstock and then sort of feathering it out lighter. As I said previously in these videos, I'm not the best at blending, but I sort of get enough ink around to make it look really cool. I'll leave a bit more black around this side, so going quite close to the edge, quite dark. So these Distress Oxides actually layer up really nicely, so you can continue to build up your colour if you go over it a second time, which I might over here. So again, I like to grab the blending tool by its head. I don't like the handle. I may end up cutting those off. I don't know. I've been saying that for a while, but I haven't been game to. When you're happy, stop. Just putting a bit more under the jar so the jar's a bit more grounded, so it doesn't look like it's floating. And just a little bit more over here. Stop when you're happy. I think I'm getting happier. A little bit more here. A little bit, just a little bit. It's always just a little bit more and then it's too much. Okay. Now we are going to do some stamping while our jar stencil is still there. So you want to grab that stamping set that comes in the kit if you purchase the kit, or just a little reedy stamp that we used on the front page as well. So what I'm going to use is the same ink. Just going to ink it up and stamp. Now it's going to be really light and you're barely going to see it, but you just want an impression. We are going to go over it with a silver gel pen in a minute. So you just want to sort of get the shapes where you want them.
If you do have a like a white ink pad or something, you could stamp them in that, but I like doing them in the silver. Sort of trying to create a real smoky smoky night scene. I'm going to do some over here as well. Again, just making your stamp go slightly to the left, slightly to the right, different heights, so you give it some interest. So it's not all played straight across the card. See how I've got going at different directions? You can sort of see when I wiggle the card that I've got silver on the bottom of it. And it's a bit hard to see, but we'll stamp some more here. Okay. Put my stamp aside for now. We'll just give that a little bit of time to dry. When you're stamping with the ink, actually, where's my heat tool? It's not plugged in. That's intelligent. When you're stamping with the stamps, it puts a bit more ink out, so we just want to be a bit careful. While you're waiting on that to dry, grab your stencil. We're going to slowly just peel our mask off, and we shouldn't disturb any of the paper underneath. Take that bit of tape off so it doesn't stick to something else. Then you're going to grab your stencil and a bit of tape. Oh, that tape didn't come off clean. This masking tape is annoying me. Doesn't want to come off in one piece. Okay, and then we just want to line up our jar. Excuse me if my head gets in the way. Lining up, lining up. I think we got it there. So once you've got it lined up, you want to go in and do the inside of your jar. So on this one, you can sort of barely see it, but I've got a little bit of yellow in here. So I'm going to go in with the speckled egg first. And again, concentrate on more of the edge and leave like a black orby thing in the middle. Orby thing on. Have great descriptions of things when I'm doing videos. So I want to go a bit more up on the lid to define the lid a bit more. A bit darker on the lid. Be careful not to come off the stencil. I know this stencil is pretty, there's not much material between the edge of the stencil, so you could put another slip of paper under there, or just be a bit careful where you're blending. I think my speckled egg needs to be re-inked. It's getting a bit low. It's had quite a workout. So that's sort of a base layer down. Then I want to swap my blending tools and grab my blending tool for fossilised amber. You could use wild honey. You could use squeezed lemonade. Squeezed lemonade? I think it's squeezed lemonade. Any sort of yellow. And then we just want to go in and give it a bit of a yellow tinge. Yes, my yellow is a bit more juicy, I can see. So I'd love to see, if you do have a go of this class, ooh, doesn't that look cool? And each of your jars are going to be slightly different. You're going to put a slightly different amount of ink down, a slightly different amount of pressure. This one is, maybe I put orange on here. It's looking a bit more orange. Maybe I used orange instead of fossilised amber. I don't know, but it's looking pretty cool. Maybe it went a bit more orange when it dried. Sort of wanted it to be a different colour from the background, so you sort of got that glow. Ooh, doesn't that look pretty? Stop when you're happy. Well, that just peeled off. That's cool. I'll clean that in a minute. And then we want to grab our die cuts. So if you did purchase the kit, you'll have these little cute die cut animals. What animals have I got left? I've used the owl. So you get one sheet of die cuts in the pack and some pattern paper. I don't actually use the pattern paper in this class, but I threw it in anyway because it come within the pack. I think we're going to use Mr. Squirrel. He could be in a jar, couldn't he? So the thing with these die cuts is they do have a grey edge, so we're just going to quickly grab our fussy scissors and cut off the grey edge. You don't have to be that fussy. You can just be a little fussy. So if you didn't have the die cuts, you could stamp some images from your stash. You could use stickers. You could use die cuts. You could use just about anything to put things in your jars. So don't be concerned that, oh, I don't have the kit, I can't make it. I'm sure in your stash you would have something that would work. I'm sure everyone would have something in their stash that would work. Now I usually try to stick something else in apart from just one shape. Oh, and typical, the garbage truck arrives just as I'm filming. I've waited all day, so I apologise for the noise. If you can hear it, you might not be able to hear it. The microphone might be good and not picking it up. So I've got a little, what's that, little pine cone. So I just want to sit in with a little pine cone. And before I put him down, I just want to grab a black texter. This one. And all I want to do is, this is like a nice fat texter. It's just a El Cheapo permanent marker that smells to high heaven. And I just want to touch the sides and give it a bit of a black border. This will help it stand out a bit more. Cleans up any of your rough cutting, or if you've left a tiny bit of white, it'll also clean that up. So I'm just basically holding the marker on the side and touching the... Okay, it's a bit awkward when you've got things like that. So just sort of touching the edge of the marker. Trying to get his ears done. There we go, and we'll just go around our pine cone as well. So you're basically just trying to get it on the edge. You're not trying to get it flat on the surface where the picture is. You'll get a little bit of it, but it's more that edge. And it just makes them stand out just that little bit more. You can't notice them as much on the black, but definitely on the white card we've done, you notice it a bit more. Okay. So now we can... I actually have that in his hand, the pine cone in his hand. He's eating. Actually, if I just take the scissors and snip between his little face here and his hands, I should be able to tuck the pine cone in. Okay. I don't really want to cover up his face. So I've just put a slit between his hand and his face, thinking I will get him to grab it somehow. And his hand's on the top and his mouth's behind it. Oh, sort of like that. Oh, he looks like he's carrying it. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Now we want to grab a white Stabilo or pencil or white charcoal pencil. That wouldn't be in there. Try again. White pencils in this pouch. So white Stabilo oil pencil, we use the black one and the white one in the art journal class. So all we're going to do is a bit of accenting on the jar. You might find it needs a lot. This one I've just put a little bit across the top, down here and around the bottom. This bit I've left plain. So this bit I like because it's quite defined. Now the garbage truck comes on the other side of the road. I don't know. Note to self, don't film on a Wednesday. So I'm just going around the base. This Stabilo oil pencil can be activated with water, but again we're not going to activate it with water. We're just going to give it a bit of smush with our finger. The oils and maybe sweat if it's a hot climate on your fingers will just blend it in a bit. I just want to put a bit of white on top of the jar, like the light is hitting the jar. A little bit on here. So the light is sort of hitting this side of the jar and that side is in darkness. Clear as mud, right? Yep. So now we want to grab that beautiful fine metallic pen that we used from this kit that's from Kmart here in Australia. Oh, excuse me. And you want to grab out the silver. And all I'm going to do with the silver is I'm going to pick it up and see if I can do it. So you've got your leaves here, but they're not quite standing out. So all I'm going to do is with the silver gel pen is roughly draw over the leaves. It doesn't matter if you're real exact, doesn't matter if you get them all. Make sure you go down and touch your tape. See how that's standing out a bit more? So basically the stamps are a guide for you to then go around and just give it a bit of something something, bit of defining. And it's quite an easy shape, so if you can't see what you've stamped, just do some loopy things on the side of a vine and she'll be good. So a few more over here just to bunch it up. A few more off this stem. If you're not sure, you can always stamp a few more in. See how that's standing out a bit more? Now I didn't do them below the jar, but I've got some over here. I'm hoping my head doesn't get in the way. That's why I'm picking up the board so I can see it a bit easier. And oh, this one's a bit bushy over here. It's a very clumped up fern leaf trim thing. Bush. And there wasn't one here, so I'm just going to make up a bit. There we go. Something like it. I can never do things, replicate things exactly, can I? Now all I've done is a wobbly border just inside the masking tape, and I like to do 2 or 3 strokes. I've done it just here between the, actually I'll do right across in front. So I could have had the decision just do it between, or I did it all in front. So you can see I'm moving my card so my hand is going the one direction. I'm not trying to do this or contort my hand. I often do that with my art journaling. Card making or scrapbooking, my page gets turned up 100 ways while I'm working. So once you're happy with the amount of silver you've got on it, I might just do this a bit more wiggly, just to fill in that little bit more space under the jar. That looks good. Stop when you're happy. Whoops, my squirrel never went away. Uh-oh, I've got that same issue. Oh, where did my little pine cone go? Oh, this pine cone does not want to be stuck. Oh, he's on my shirt. Found it. Everybody stop looking. That little pine cone that I lost in the first. Don't give me small bits of paper to hang on to. Okay, so I'm going to put a tiny dot, if I can get it, on his hand. Is this glue going to behave? Tiny bit on his hand so he can grab the pine cone. I sort of want to position it so you can still see his nose. While I'm sticking that down with my hand, I will just clean off the top of my glue. Now, what we might do is add a saying to this one. Oops. Let's see what sayings. I've just got my little Ziploc bag here to put my die cuts in. So I can make another card, and I've just got foliage. So I've got quite a few cards out of that little die pack. I think I got 4, maybe 5. Okay, let's see if we can stamp a saying on here. Let's put our little read back. This stamp set is rather cute. It's very cute in its we go thank you. We go best wishes. We go best wishes. So I think maybe the thank you or the best wishes, I think it could have been the best wishes. I can't remember. One of the words I did cut in half. So it was either I think it might have been the best wishes. So don't be afraid to cut your words in half if they are not going to fit where you want them to be. I meant like best wishes. You wouldn't want to cut best and wishes in half. So we can play around with placement. I'll hold that a bit over. Now the plan is to stamp this in the speckled egg, and then if it's not dark enough, go over it in, give it a good ink up, go over it with the silver metallic pencil. Let's get rid of that ink that's not supposed to be there. We're going to hold this down for about 30 seconds, cross our fingers, toes and anything else that it will stamp bright enough, or we'll just go over it with the silver pencil. We game, we ready to have a look. A few more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on. Okay. Where's my silver pen? I knew that would happen. I sort of knew. I must track down a really white ink pad. I haven't found one. If anyone's got any suggestions of a really white ink pad, that would be awesome. So now all I'm going to do how did the bee look? Doesn't look like a bee, does it? So I'm just tracing around the letters. The bee looks a bit funky. I'm going to see if I can do something to that in a minute. Make it look not funky. Be basically using, like you use the vines down below, using the words as a guide, or the stamp as a guide. And I probably regret trying to do this, but oh well. It's done now. Best be. Probably need. I wonder if there's a black gel pen. Just a bit too much silver in there. I got a bit overexcited. Oh, we have a black gel pen. I think I just need a little bit of black up here. To signify that that's an opening like the bee. There we go. And why is best and wishes one standing out more than the other? Because one needs some more. One needs some more grey on it, silver on it. I have to wait till it dries. There we go. Probably would have been better if I had the proper ink pad, but you could always stamp on a bit of paper and add like a little banner or something as well. Thank you very much for watching this bonus little clip for the video. The only thing I have to do is actually take off my masking tape And I showed you how to do that in the first little clip with the card. You do need to heat it up with a heat tool. My heat tool is not plugged in at the moment because I thought I wouldn't need it. So don't attempt to take your sticky tape off until you... I put the stamp away without putting the stamp away. Until you heat it up with a heat tool, and that helps release the masking tape glue, and it helps it peel it off really, really nicely. There we go. We've got our little owl card. We can go and mount our little, what is he? A squirrel onto a piece of white card, and he looks really nice. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want the card making kit, the art journal kit, the scrapbooking kit, they're all available on Scrapbooking&Craft. The website will be linked in the description box below of this video. If you want pieces of the kit, you want the stencils, we sell singly the black and white cutouts we used in the first art journal video, black cutouts. They're available individually if you just want to pick up a few bits and pieces. We only have the stamp set available in the kit at this stage because I've only got limited numbers. And the die cuts are only available in the kit as well. And let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you for bearing with me with this extremely long video if you have got to the end. Hope you got inspired and hope you have a go at things in jars. And if you do have a go, you can either message me what you have made or tag Scrapbooking&Craft, the business name, on social media, and I'll see those tags pop up and I can have a sticky back at what you've been creating inspired by my class. And if you don't want to share, that's cool too. Bye for now. Till next time.